Joining us now, actor, writer, former correspondent for The Daily Show, Asif Mandvi. Asif is reprising his role in the one-man show Sankina's Restaurant, which he wrote and debuted 20 years ago. Tells the story of an Indian immigrant who comes to New York to work at a restaurant and to live the American dream. Good morning. Welcome back. It's great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
So we're just talking about this play, which you debuted 20 years ago.
Yes.
And now you're bringing it back, and
yes.
how the context for it has changed completely in those 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, we did Sankina's Restaurant the first time in 1998, and it was, pre 9/11. America was a very different place, and I never thought that I would bring it back. But I realized that 20 years later, the story around immigrants and Muslims, immigrants, this narrative is so much more relevant today than it was even back then. Look, one of the ways that you dehumanize people is you politicize them. Whether it's Muslims, whether it's immigrants coming across the border, and what this play does and what theater and what art and storytellers can often do is humanize that immigrant story and that immigrant experience and why people come to America, the sacrifices they make, the joys, the heartbreaks of that. So telling that story felt to me like it was more necessary today than it has ever been.
So was there a moment or perhaps something you saw in the culture, on TV, in politics that made you think, wow, I hadn't thought about bringing it back, but I'm going to now?
Well, once the first Muslim ban happened, I thought, and I got very active at that point. I started working with ACLU, and we did a fundraiser and stuff with a lot of comedy people. And so once that happened, and then you started to see like the stuff that was happening with the families being separated at the border, the cumulative effect of those things made me realize that this administration is waging a war on immigrants. And that war, look, I'm an artist. What I can do is use my storytelling and my words. And so it felt to me that Sankina's Restaurant is a story about immigrants, and it's about when you go to the theater and you see the story and you relate to these characters, it humanizes that experience which we have dehumanized in our culture today.
What's kind of interesting is that when you first performed it 20 years ago, the play, the storyline is actually ageless.
Yeah.
It's about, as you just indicated, immigrants, people coming to America, but now reprising the play and having it on Broadway, there's one element in the air that I don't think was present to the extent it is now: the fear.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Back in 1998, most Americans didn't know what a Muslim was. In fact, I have a joke about it in the play. And today, there's been a lot of, I think after 9/11, Americans not only know what Muslims are, but Americans have been told to fear Muslims. Many Americans have. And so I feel like this, again, does a similar thing, which is that we haven't changed the text, and we've said it in the period that it was written. So it was in the late 90s. And it's a window into an America that we don't live in right now. And it reminds us of who we are and why people came here, whether you're Muslim or whether you're Mexican or whatever it is. The fact that people come here for a reason, and what America represents to so many people around the world, or at least used to.
Art can reflect reality better than the news can.
Yeah. Well, there's I learned this on The Daily Show for many years, where using satire, using comedy, we could often tell the truth in a way that, unfortunately, you guys couldn't,
Yeah.
And so I think artists and writers, storytellers have that ability, and so that's what I'm hoping we can do with this. And I just feel like when I revisited my own play, I realized, this is something that I feel like I need right now. I need this kind of sense of the America that I came to. I mean, I'm an immigrant. My family came to this country, and so there was a reason that we came here, and that reason feels very diluted now. I don't know what what it just feels like in today's environment, I don't think my parents would have come to this country.
You've got an entirely new audience who can go check out. What's really fun 20 years later is you still fit in all the costumes, which speaks well to your personal fitness. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And it's funny, by the way.
Yes.
Don't forget, it's funny. It is funny.
The play is Sakina's Restaurant. It's at the Minetta Lane Theater, here in New York. Always great to see you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. We'll be right back with more Morning Joe.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.